everyone. Today we got to play Shipyard. Now, this is a game by Czech Games. Obviously, the theme is shipyards. But before we get into it, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell because board games are amazing, and that's what we do here at Legends of Nirvana. Now, Randy, can you tell us a little bit more? I know this is a little bit of an older game, 2009, yes. Right?
Yeah, 2009 release. It is out of print. And it's got a Board Game Geek rating currently of 7.4, a Board Game Geek rank of 732. It's a 2 to 4 player game, average length of 120 minutes. That's probably about right for what we played. Age,
well, it says 30 minutes per player on...
Yeah, I guess, yeah, so mathematically for 4 players it'd be 200 or 120 minutes. For us it was 120 minutes with 3 players, so there's that. Designed by Vladimir Suchy. Art is by Milan Vavron, published by Czech Games Edition, or CGE. And again, it's out of print. The only place I saw this still for sale in stock is Noble Knight had a copy, but it was $129.95.
Woo!
Mine is priced at $29.99, and I don't think I paid that for it. So I got a good deal on it because it was out of print when I picked this up.
Oh, okay. So, well, you'll have to scrounge the trade game.
Yes, if you're interested in the game after we talk about it.
Yeah, board game market.
So this is kind of an action selection rondel game and some tile drafting and building of ships.
Yeah, all right. So let's talk about quality of components. There's cardboard chits.
They are. They're tiny and they're very thin. Punching them was a problem. They wanted to tear at the corners with the hanging chads.
Yeah, and even like the workers. So it's not your standard meeple. It's this guy with the hat. I will say I like the hat.
Yeah, the hat's cute.
I think the hat is the only quality, outstanding quality of this.
The player boards are paper thin almost. They're slightly thicker. They're not even cardstock, I wouldn't say.
No, I'm probably gonna give this a 5.5, and half for this because of the hat.
Yeah, I'm not even there. I mean, there is a linen finish on the boards, but yeah, I'll give it a 4.5. It's below.
Look at that hat, though.
Okay, yeah, that's why I got a half point. It was going to be a 4 because punching. There was a ton to punch out, and these things kept falling on the floor. They're going to get lost very easily. I understand why they made them small because you're building people and components on your ships.
Yeah, we didn't believe in small ships.
Well, even then, even still, if this would be a huge table hog if you built bigger tiles. But these things are really, really thin and flimsy, and they're going to get lost easily. They tore easily. Very frustrating to punch out. Yeah,
it would have been a lot more interesting had there been like an inlaid piece into the tiles. That way you kind of knew a certain shape that's supposed to fit into it. So if they ever think about reprinting...
Yeah, I think this is one of those candidates of if a game needs it, it could come out with an upgrade. This would be one of them. Clans of Caledonia was my first choice for that. This is probably my second now.
Yeah. All right, so let's move on to the actual theme. So the theme is obviously shipyards. You do have this shoreline view on your boards as well as different ship tiles. But the ships are, there's a red bottom and then a gray and a white. They're all very similar to each other. The art's it's not bad art. It's just not good art either. I think mediocre is part of the course for this game as far as that kind of... Now, the theme-wise is you are building a ship. You are putting certain things in the ship based on the different tasks that you're going to have to do, which is based on the river tiles that you end up drawing. So I'm willing to give it a 6 on theme. It's not crazy.
Yeah, I think they do integrate into the gameplay pretty well as far as the ships. That makes sense what you're building. The only piece that I had trouble with was the sails, because the ship is clearly a metallic steel-based ship. I can't imagine anybody putting sails on this thing and having any success sailing it.
Well, and then here's the thing, though. A sail and a steam, whatever this called, the smokestack, was of the same thing. And I'm like, coal does not get you wind. It is not the same. So that one was like, I don't understand that at all. So there was little things that didn't make a lot, some sense. Yeah. But at the same time, overall. But like I said, a 6. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I'll probably go ahead and give it a 6.5 because of the integration of the gameplay. I think it makes sense. You build the ships, you take them out on a test run, and you get your victory points for that. And I like the way the different rondels worked and your different selection choices, all your actions. You get to choose from a lot of different choices on your turn. And I think it's integrated well into the theme.
Mm-hmm. So, Randy, can you tell us a little bit about the rules? I mean, what were you thinking, and,
all right,
and
so
how easy was it to learn?
The rulebook's actually not bad. It's well, it's not page number. Oh yeah, there it is. 12 pages in length. They have an overview. It's not really got any cover. It goes straight into the components and the overview. The components have some pictures, not all. And then you have the setup. The setup was a little confusing because they have numbering on it, and then usually the numbering refers to like the setup steps, but in this case all it is telling you the names of the pieces on the side. So the numbers were, if you were trying to match numbers, they don't match up.
Yeah.
As far as the gameplay, it was actually not bad to learn the gameplay of this, and they do have some nice examples. The biggest issue that we had was there's no cheat sheets. Again, lots of iconography.
Yeah, well, to remember which of the things on the ship meant which icon that you could add, especially at the very beginning, was very confusing. Yeah. And it wasn't very clear, and I always felt like I was guessing, because even then, the stuff on the tile to signify what the upgrade is, they're kind of all the same. I mean, there's small differences.
They're tiny. Well, they're tiny, so then you have to look at it very closely to make sure you don't mess up.
Yeah, I still don't know what the difference is between the crane and the gun.
The crane has a little bigger of a base, and the gun is blue, so there's,
Wait, there's really different colors?
Yeah, the gun has got a blue base to it.
Well, the gun, I think, is more catty-cornered. Okay, so this is the... Okay.
That's the crane.
It almost looks like a bunch of boxes, so maybe.
Yeah. And then, the one, I thought the crane and the mast or not mast, but where you would attach either the sail or the smokestack were the ones that were the easiest to confuse. But then again, I didn't build a lot of guns, whereas you were building warships that apparently
I decided that I was building ships for the Royal Navy.
Yeah, I assumed you were declaring war against our independent shipyard. So to
be fair, I did win though.
You won, but
my war tactic
came close second to you there.
Yeah.
All in all, I think it's a decent rule book for the time period. It's not great. It's missing, like I said, the cheat sheets. I'll probably give it a 7. It's very reminiscent of like the Puerto Rico and those kind of rule books, except for it's not Aaliyah, so it doesn't have the nice reference on the side like I like. But you can clearly tell the time period the game's from.
All right, so now let's actually talk about the gameplay. So the gameplay starts up is that there are several different actions at around this particular rondel. Now, when it is your turn, you could go on to any of the open spaces.
Right.
Okay?
At the beginning of the game, you wouldn't have any pieces on the board,
right.
So you could the first player can choose any of the actions.
Correct. But like I said, so and I think there is a money difference based on turn orders.
No, it's everybody starts with 6 money, but when you since the first player places first, the others, that establishes whether you can go in front or behind them. And if you go behind any players, you get a coin for going behind them.
Yeah, okay. So, but let's talk about the different actions that you can take. So, one of the kind of straightforward one is picking up pieces to your ship. You can choose 3 of those tiles. And depending on which row they are varied in the cost of money. Now, the other thing that takes your ship, you take your pieces and push them on the side of the board. There are little spots for it. Now, you can start building multiple ships on that. None of us ever did. We liked big, huge, giant ships for whatever reason. But still, so you could do multiple ships or you can do one-leg ships, but the very one on this side has to be the start of the ship. The very on this one has to be an end of a ship. And you cannot place to where you cannot complete a ship for whatever reason.
Yeah, you can place where you can temporarily not be able to complete a ship. Like if you you start one where you're putting the middle pieces while there's a ship already in progress at the beginning. You can, as long as that ship can sail out, you can go ahead and start building a
Now,
second
if
ship.
for whatever reason that you immediately, or if you do end up finishing a ship, which means having a beginning and an end and stuff and the stuff in the middle.
It has to have at least one middle tile.
Yeah, and there's no missing spaces that you've slotted here. Then it auto completes and you immediately trigger it at the end of the round. Now, there are some things that you have to have for that, and we'll discuss that here in a minute when we talk about these different components. Now, the next thing you could do, obviously, is your ship has to have somewhere to go, and if it doesn't have anywhere to go, you don't get any victory points, okay? So again, that's one of those conditions. And those are the river tiles. Now, river tiles are not all the same because there are different icons on them. That means you get additional scoring based on what those are. So for example, there's a lifeboat on this, or a lifesaver, so it's the number of lifesavers. There's also a lifeboat on this one, so the number of lifeboats that are on your ship. On top of the standard scoring. Now, some of the standard scoring includes your guns and your cranes and your movement and your people that are on board. So that's what that looks like. So that's the second action. One of the third actions is you can go get a coal car or your rail cars, okay? So that each rail card has 3 different rail cars of different types of variety. So one of the fourth action you could take is then obviously taking those rail car to the market. Now you can sell them for a certain amount of profit based on where this person is. You move them up 1 during your turn, and whatever the price is, that's the price of those goods. However, you don't have to sell them for money. I'm not kidding. I've had a few where one thing is worth 1. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to end up probably just trading for different components to my boat. For example, coal has the steam shack and the propeller. Silver has a military gun and a soldier. Okay, so there is another option for that. So that's action 5. So then action 6 and 7 are kind of, they almost look like they would be the same action. They are not. So then you have the green circle in the middle and then the tan circle. There's 2 different actions there. So the green, you go forward, and whatever you go to, that's what you get next. Now, this one is a little bit different because you can gain a coin to move it 1 step further or as many steps as you want. But it does cost...
up to 3 because it's only 4 spaces. So
Correct.
You would basically make a complete circle if you paid 3.
Well, I mean, you could do more, but that would be stupid.
It actually says max up to 3 because I guess there may be somebody who would have kept circling if not. So
well, I mean...
why you need a rule for that, I don't know, but they put it in there.
We've played with some people. Okay, so then the outside rain is just the same, but it has different resources. So the green has people and propellers. And people are very important, specifically the captain. You have to have a captain for your ship, or when you complete your ship goes nowhere because it doesn't have a captain and therefore with no victory points, which is very sad. So make sure you get a captain before you complete your boat. I think it was Dad, almost completed a boat.
No, I was at the end. I was going to be building, and I realized I couldn't build because there was no way I would be able to sail it and get a captain. So
Dad,
no point.
I think Dad did it too, where he almost had completed a boat and then realized, oh wait, nope, I'm getting a conductor first, right? Or he looks like a conductor. He's actually a captain. Then you have a soldier and a businessman. They're worth different things based on maybe your different scoring mechanisms. All right, and then you have the orange or the tan circle, which has to do with guns, sails, steam stacks, as well as cranes. So again, different. Depending on the different icons on the river, we'll score those differently. Now, the last action that you have is actually this board over here, and it's basically just upgrades to different action items or different things. So, for example, this one, anytime I go to the tan circle, I get whatever I would get, and then I get an additional item. Then the orange kind of allows you to modify the prices that you get for those goods when you sell your rail cars. And then your blue kind of modify the capability of your boat. So in this example, I get to place 2 free guns. I still have to get the guns, but then I can place them on the ship without somewhere to be.
Yeah, because normally on your ship there's mounts for all the different things you're adding or cabins for the people.
Yeah.
If you don't have them, you can't place them on there. So this allows you to bypass that rule and attach 2 without any kind of attachment.
Yeah. So what is the end of the game? So the end of game happens when you go around. Oh, I forgot. So as you pick a tile, so say if I were to go here, I'm going to take the tile that I was previously at and go here. Now, as people play, you'll start coming across the board. Now, there is some special rules that depending on how far away a tile is, you may get some additional coin. And like Randy mentioned, if you are behind people, you get additional coin as well for that. So if you go around, I guess the number of rounds is based on player count?
It's based on player count.
Correct.
So there's a meeple, or not one of the meeple, but one of the little salt shakers with a hat that goes at the round based upon the player count. And you go around, it's 23 spaces on there, so everybody will get 23 turns.
Yeah, correct. All right, so, or the other end of game is when you run out of one of the ship rows. So either all of the middle or all the end or all, basically when you can't complete any more ships, the game will end. I didn't see that happening, but maybe we were playing the long game, to be fair. We were playing big ships.
If you're building a lot of ships, I could see it happening.
Yeah.
Or big ships could make it happen too, because you're
the
middle section.
Right.
More likely.
So, but overall, so that's basically the game. And things that I enjoyed about it, I liked being in the Royal Navy.
Well, I mean, one of the things you didn't mention is you start the game with 3 blue and 3 green in-game bonus tiles. And then each round, or well, it depends on player count, but generally each round you're going to give up one of those tiles of each color. So you end up with just 1 blue and 1 green at the end. So that can guide how you try to build your ships to try to maximize your points for those.
Yeah, it does
bonuses.
give you a little bit direction, which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
And that's why I decided to go with the whole Royal Navy thing. I was in it.
Yeah, I had life preservers as my one scoring thing, so I was capping those out everywhere.
Yeah. So there are definitely, there are a lot of different actions that you can take.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really sad we didn't have a cheat sheet. That made me a little sad more than once because of the iconography. It is heavy in this game. There's a lot of different mechanisms going on here, from the drafting and the rondelle. I thought it was an okay game. I mean, it was fun. It was fine. I'm glad I won.
Well, I thought it was unique was the main action selection, where you choose an action, and then the next turn, when you leave that action, it advances the clock. In essence, that action goes to the front of the line. That's something I haven't seen.
I will say that was unique. And the fact that you can go back if there is...
Yeah. And you get rewarded for going back and taking further back spaces, because not only do you get a coin for each person in front of you, but you also, if you take an action that falls behind, but significantly, we never had that happen, but if one action, everybody just ignores it for a long time, you get, if for every 3 spaces it falls behind, you get an extra coin.
Yeah. Overall, that was actually pretty unique, and I actually enjoyed that quite a bit. Everything else, I don't think was too unique. I hate to say it.
Mm-hmm.
And I enjoyed it. I thought it was fine. I'm probably going to give this a 7. I didn't love it. I thought it was okay. I thought it was fun. I had fun. But will I remember this to pull it out? I'm not sure I will.
Yeah, I mean, it suffers from the blandness factor as far as the color tones. I mean, it's not vibrant at all.
Well,
but then again, I guess shipyards aren't either. But yeah, it's the time period, I think. The 2009 era, a lot of those games, the Euro games, were very monotone or subdued colors. But I do think there's a lot of unique mechanics. I mean, Suchy's made some really good games. And I think this one, you definitely feel like an early Suchy game. You can tell it's an early one of his designs. And I do like the aspects of it. I think I like a lot of his other games better. But I think I'm right there with you with a 7 on this. One thing we didn't also mention is you can pay 6 coin to take a second action.
Oh, yeah, that was a pretty big thing.
And I thought that was really cool.
But whoever had 6 money, you did all the freaking time.
No, your dad was the one that was like rich over there all the time. He had tons of money.
Yeah, but he didn't actually do anything.
Well,
all he did was make money.
Yeah, he never sailed his ship until the very end. And
yeah, so I mean, that was pretty unique, and I didn't mention it, but you know, I only got to do that twice.
Mm-hmm.
And then I ended up bankrupting myself where I regretted doing it every single time. So, I mean, I didn't really use it a lot, but, you know, and that's to, you know, but I did win and not use a lot of it. So I think that is to be noted.
Yeah. And I think there's, you know, the in-game bonus tiles, there was a lot of variety in those. That was really nice too.
Yeah.
They weren't all like, I have this icon or that icon. Like I have one that was, for every one of the river tiles I advanced, I got 4 points. So unfortunately, I was 2 spaces shy of getting off that next one and getting another 4 bonus points. And that was what I was trying to do at the end, but I didn't have a captain.
Well,
so
you still wouldn't have won. It was
no,
high.
I still wouldn't have won, but I would have been 2 points behind you instead of 6. So yeah, I think, you know, I'm probably right there with you at the 7, as I mentioned, but I do think there's a lot of fun to be had as far as the mechanics of this game. I just wish it was prettier, and I wish the components were better quality.
My thing is it's not very memorable. And I don't know if it's the component quality or the colors. I mean, because I do like this kind of aesthetic, but I'm just not sure I'm going to remember it at the end of the day. Oh, yeah, that game, we kind of had fun with it, maybe, but I have a really hard time remembering all the games he makes me play. People are like, have you played that? Maybe. I don't know.
I know Rob's a big fan of Suchy, and I'll probably want to get this out for him sometime because it's one he hasn't tried, I don't think.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We had an absolute blast today, and hopefully you'll come hang out with us again. We'll catch you guys later. Bye.